Have you ever wondered what secrets lie beneath Wayne Manor? Picture this: a hidden laboratory filled with blinking lights, mysterious gadgets, and a sleek black vehicle ready to launch at a moment's notice. What if I told you that the 1966 Batcave wasn't just a TV set, it was a living, breathing symbol of everything the space age promised us? Before we dive into the depths of television history, do me a favor. If you love classic TV, nostalgic deep dives, or just want to see where it all began, hit that like button right now. And hey, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another journey into pop culture's greatest secrets. Drop a comment telling me your favorite Batman memory, and if this video blows your mind, share it with a fellow Dark Knight fan. Trust me, they'll thank you later. Today, we're counting down 21 fascinating facts about the 1966 Batcave. From hidden design choices to atomic reactors that never actually existed, from secret Shakespeare switches to the real cave in Los Angeles that millions of viewers thought was just a set. These revelations will completely change how you watch those classic episodes. So grab your cape, straighten your utility belt, and get ready to slide down the bat poles with us. We're about to enter the cave of pop culture history, and what we discover might just surprise even the biggest Batman fans. Let's go to where it all began. Beneath Wayne Manor, where justice was just a secret switch away. Number 21. The first Batcave in color. Now, let's kick things off with a fact that transformed everything. Before 1966, the Batcave lived mostly in shadows and imagination. Comic book readers had seen it illustrated in black and white panels. The 1943 movie Serial showed it as a simple room with a desk, but when the Batman TV series exploded onto American screens in January 1966, everything changed. This was the first Batcave in full, glorious color, and it wasn't just colorful, it was a technicolor explosion of space-age optimism. While Tim Burton's 1989 Batcave would embrace gothic darkness, and Christopher Nolan's would go for industrial brutalism, the 1966 version was something entirely different. It was bright, it was vibrant, it was unapologetically cheerful. Blinking red lights dotted every console, glowing green indicators pulsed with electronic life. Yellow labels identified every piece of equipment. The famous atomic pile in the center glowed with an otherworldly orange luminescence. Even the walls were painted in lighter tones to maximize the lighting effects. This wasn't an accident. The producers knew they were making history. Color television was still relatively new in 1966. Only about half of American households had color sets. But that number was growing rapidly. ABC wanted their Batman to showcase what color TV could do. They wanted kids pressing their faces against the screen, marveling at every hue. The decision to make the Batcave bright rather than dark was revolutionary. It said something about the era itself. This was the height of the space race. Americans were optimistic about technology. Science wasn't scary. It was exciting. The future wasn't dark. It glowed with possibility. The 1966 Batcave captured that spirit perfectly, turning Batman's lair into an underground laboratory that looked more like mission control than a cave. 20. The Shakespeare switch. And speaking of that optimistic future, getting into the Batcave was surprisingly literary. Forget retinal scanners, fingerprint readers, or complex voice recognition systems. Bruce Wayne had something far more elegant and far more eccentric. In Wayne Manor's study, sitting innocently among the leather-bound books and mahogany furniture, was a bust of William Shakespeare. To any visitor, it was just another decoration in the home of Gotham's wealthiest bachelor. A tasteful nod to culture and education. Nothing suspicious at all. But when Bruce Wayne needed to become Batman, he'd walk calmly to that bust and tilt Shakespeare's head backward. That single gesture, tilting the bard's head, would trigger one of television's most famous secret doors. A bookshelf would slide open, revealing the entrance to the bat poles that led down to the Batcave below. The genius of this mechanism was its simplicity. There were no buttons to hide, no keypads to disguise, no obvious technology that might raise questions. It was pure mechanical elegance hidden in plain sight. Even if someone accidentally bumped the bust, they'd need to tilt it at exactly the right angle to trigger the mechanism. became iconic immediately. Kids across America started checking every statue in their homes, hoping to find their own secret passage. The choice of Shakespeare wasn't random either. It suggested that Bruce Wayne was educated, cultured, and sophisticated. Exactly the kind of cover a billionaire crime fighter would need. What's fascinating is that the show never over-explained it. There was no episode detailing how it was installed or who built it. It simply existed, and that mystery made it even better. Was it designed by Bruce himself? Did Alfred install it? Had it been there since Thomas Wayne's time? The show trusted viewers to accept it and move on. That small gesture, Bruce Wayne tilting Shakespeare's head, opened one of the most famous secret doors in television history. And it did so with style, class, and just a hint of theatrical flair that defined everything about the 1966 Batman series. Number 19. The legendary bat poles. Once that bookshelf slid open, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson didn't waste time. They had crime to fight, and Gotham City couldn't wait. What happened next became one of the most beloved and baffling sequences in television history, the bat pole transformation. Batman and Robin didn't need time to suit up. They didn't rush to changing rooms or struggle with zippers and boots. Instead, they'd simply grab onto two gleaming metal poles, one clearly labeled Bruce and the other Dick, and slide down into the Batcave below. The camera would follow them for a few seconds, showing Bruce and Dick in their regular clothes descending through the darkness. Then came the magic. When they reached the bottom and stepped off those poles, they'd somehow emerged in full costume. Capes, cowls, utility belts, gloves, boots, everything perfectly in place. Batman and Robin were ready for action. The transformation was instantaneous, impossible, and absolutely wonderful. The show never explained how this worked, not once. There was no technical exposition, no behind-the-scenes look at quick change technology, no acknowledgement that what viewers just witnessed defied all logic. The poles simply transformed them, and that was that. It was pure television magic, and the producers knew better than to ruin it with explanations. Behind the scenes, the trick was simple but effective. The actors would slide down the poles in their regular clothes. Then, in the Batcave set, stunt doubles in full costume would be filmed stepping off identical poles. Quick editing made it seem seamless, but to viewers, especially kids, it looked like actual magic. And here's the beautiful part. Fans didn't care that it made no sense. They didn't want explanations. They wanted wonder. The bat poles delivered exactly that every single time. Number 18. Labels everywhere. Now, once Batman and Robin reached the bottom of those bat poles and stepped into the Batcave proper, they entered a world where absolutely everything had a name. And I mean everything. Walk through the 1966 Batcave and you'd see labels on every single piece of equipment. The Bat computer had its name prominently displayed. The atomic pile was clearly marked. There was a label for the emergency bat turn lever, another for the bat radar, and one for the crime computer analyzer. Even the simplest items weren't spared. Rumor has it that even the coffee machine had a label reading Bat Beverage Dispenser. This wasn't sloppy set design. This was brilliant, intentional world building. The producers understood their audience perfectly. Kids loved reading those labels. They'd memorize them, discuss them at school, and imagine what each gadget could do. The labels turned the Batcave from a simple set into an interactive experience. Every piece of equipment sparked imagination. The label obsession also served a practical purpose. In the fast-paced, action-packed episodes, there wasn't always time for lengthy explanations. But if Batman rushed to a machine clearly labeled Bat Lie Detector or Universal Crime Translator, viewers immediately understood what was happening. The labels did the storytelling work instantly. There was something charmingly earnest about it too. The 1966 Batman series never tried to be subtle or mysterious. It embraced camp, color, and clarity. Of course, Batman would label everything in his cave. He was organized, methodical, and wanted his sidekick to find equipment quickly during emergencies. It made perfect sense within the show's logic. The labeling style also reflected 1960s design aesthetics. This was an era of clean lines, bold typography, and clear communication. Space programs labeled everything. Government facilities labeled everything. The Batcave was simply following the design language of its time, making it feel contemporary and cutting edge. Those labels became so iconic that they're now synonymous with the 1966 series. Modern parodies and homages always include them. They're shorthand for that specific version of Batman, colorful, fun, and unafraid to tell you exactly what you're looking at. No mystery required, just pure labeled justice. Number 17. A real cave in Los Angeles. Here's something that surprises most fans. While the interior of the Batcave was built on a soundstage, that famous entrance where the Batmobile roared out into Gotham wasn't fake at all. It was absolutely real. The iconic tunnel exit was filmed at Bronson Canyon in Griffith Park, Los Angeles. This wasn't some elaborate construction. It was an actual cave formation that had been sitting there for decades. The cave entrance had a fascinating history of its own. It was originally created by rock quarrying operations in the early 1900s, leaving behind this distinctive tunnel opening that looked almost too perfect to be natural. Hollywood had already discovered Bronson Canyon long before Batman arrived. That same cave entrance appeared in countless science fiction films throughout the 1950s. It showed up in westerns, monster movies, and alien invasion films. The cave was Hollywood's worst-kept secret, a free, dramatic location just minutes from the studios. When the Batman producers needed an exterior shot for the Batcave exit, Bronson Canyon was the obvious choice. They'd film the Batmobile bursting through that tunnel opening, tires squealing, engine roaring, heading out to fight crime. The rocky terrain and natural shadows made it look appropriately mysterious and remote. What's remarkable is how this real location meshed seamlessly with the bright, colorful soundstage interior. Viewers never questioned the transition. One moment, Batman was in his labeled, glowing underground laboratory. The next, he was racing through a genuine cave tunnel into the streets of Gotham. That cave still exists today. Fans regularly visit Bronson Canyon to stand where the Batmobile once emerged, connecting themselves to television history through real stone and actual earth. Number 16. The Atomic Pile. And when Batman wasn't racing through that real cave, he was standing next to one of television's most memorable props, the Atomic Pile. That glowing tower dominated the center of the Batcave, impossible to miss and utterly mesmerizing. It looked like a genuine nuclear reactor. The cylindrical structure rose from floor to ceiling, wrapped in translucent panels that glowed with an eerie orange light. Pipes and conduits seemed to pulse with atomic energy. It hummed with power, suggesting it was generating electricity for the entire facility. But here's the truth. It was just lights and plastic pipes. There was nothing nuclear about it. No radiation, no fuel rods, no actual power generation. It was pure theatrical illusion, designed to look impressive on camera and capture viewers' imaginations. And it worked brilliantly. The Atomic Pile became one of the most recognizable props of the entire series. It appeared in nearly every Batcave scene, usually positioned prominently in the background. Kids assumed Batman had harnessed atomic power beneath Wayne Manor, making him seem even more technologically advanced. The prop reflected 1960s fascination with atomic energy. Nuclear power was seen as futuristic and clean, the energy source of tomorrow. Having an atomic pile in the Batcave made Batman seem cutting edge, a hero powered by the science of the future. Number 15. The Bat computer that solved everything. Right next to that glowing atomic pile sat another miracle of 1960s television technology, the Bat computer. And this machine could do absolutely everything. In 1966, real computers filled entire rooms and required teams of specialists to operate. They used punch cards, printed on paper, and could barely handle basic calculations. Yet, Batman had a computer under his house that could decode secret messages, track criminals across Gotham, analyze fingerprints, translate foreign languages, and predict villain behavior patterns, all in seconds. The Bat computer was a magnificent prop. Banks of blinking lights covered its surface. Tape reels spun dramatically whenever it processed information. A printer would chatter away, producing results on continuous paper. Switches and dials suggested complex operations happening inside its mysterious circuits. Batman would input a question, sometimes by typing, sometimes by simply speaking, and the Bat computer would immediately provide answers. Riddler's latest clue, decoded instantly, Penguin's hideout location, calculated and printed, Joker's next target, predicted with certainty. The machine didn't need Wi-Fi, internet connections, or software updates. It ran on pure bat power and 1960s optimism about what computers could eventually do. Incredibly, the show basically predicted modern AI assistants, search engines, and database systems, just wrapped in blinking lights and spinning reels instead of sleek touchscreens. Number 14. Designed like a space lab. The man responsible for this technological wonderland was production designer Serge Krisman. He had a clear vision: make the Batcave look like NASA's mission control, buried underground. Krisman studied actual space program facilities for inspiration. He noticed how NASA used banks of monitors, rows of consoles, and dramatic overhead lighting. He borrowed all of it. The Batcave featured similar design elements: workstations with blinking panels, overhead catwalks, and that signature technical aesthetic. The whirring sound that constantly filled the Batcave wasn't accidental either. Krisman wanted an audible sense of machinery at work, computers processing, systems running. Even when Batman wasn't actively using equipment, the cave felt alive with electronic activity. This wasn't a medieval dungeon or gothic chamber. This was a laboratory, a command center, a facility where science fought crime. Krisman's design choices made the Batcave feel modern and forward-thinking, perfectly matching the show's optimistic tone about technology's potential to make the world safer. 13. Filmed in a Fox studio, not a real cave. Despite that real cave entrance we talked about earlier, the main Batcave set was entirely artificial. Everything Batman and Robin did inside their underground headquarters happened on the 20th Century Fox soundstage in Los Angeles. The set was enormous by television standards. It included multiple levels, walkways, staircases, and dedicated spaces for the Batcomputer, Atomic Pile, and Batmobile parking area. Scaffolding created the illusion of depth and industrial complexity. Props filled every corner, making it feel like a working facility rather than a TV set. Building it wasn't cheap. Fox invested serious money into creating a permanent Batcave set that could be used week after week. The investment paid off. The same basic set appeared throughout the series' 3-season run, with occasional modifications and additions. The controlled studio environment gave producers tremendous advantages. They could control lighting perfectly, record clean audio without outside noise, and shoot regardless of weather. The Batcave could be bright and colorful precisely because they weren't dealing with an actual cave's natural darkness. Number 12. The Batphone's bright red glow. Among all the Batcave's gadgets, one stood out as the most important: the Batphone. This bright red telephone sat prominently on the main console, impossible to miss and absolutely critical to Batman's operation. The Batphone connected Batman directly to Commissioner Gordon's office. When Gotham needed help, Gordon would call, and that red phone would glow dramatically, accompanied by urgent beeping sounds. No dialing required, no phone book needed, just instant communication between police headquarters and the Batcave. The prop itself was simple but effective. A standard telephone painted bright red with a clear plastic dome covering it. When it rang, internal lights made it glow, creating visual urgency. Batman would answer immediately, ready to hear about whatever villain was terrorizing Gotham. That glowing red phone became a pop culture icon in its own right, symbolizing the direct line between law enforcement and heroic action. Number 11. The most well-lit Batcave ever. Here's something that sets the 1966 Batcave apart from every version that came after. It was incredibly bright. While later Batcaves embraced shadows, darkness, and gothic atmosphere, this one was lit like a laboratory. Every corner glowed with light. The overhead fixtures illuminated workstations clearly. Console lights blinked constantly. The atomic pile cast its orange glow. Even the darkest corners had enough light to see clearly. This wasn't about mystery or atmosphere, it was about showcasing technology. The producers wanted viewers to see everything, to appreciate every gadget, every label, every blinking light. Darkness would have hidden all those wonderful details. The bright lighting also reflected 1960s optimism. Science wasn't something hidden in shadows. Technology was celebrated, displayed proudly, illuminated for everyone to admire. The Batcave's brightness said that Batman had nothing to hide. Justice worked best in the light. Number 10. Real science fiction. Sounds. All those beeps, hums, and electronic whirs filling the Batcave weren't just random noise. The sound department created an authentic sonic landscape using real technology. They employed actual oscillators and early synthesizers to generate those distinctive electronic sounds. The constant background hum came from audio generators running continuously. Each button press, each computer calculation, each system activation had its own carefully designed sound effect. The result was a Batcave that felt alive. Even during quiet moments, you could hear machinery working, systems processing, equipment running. The sound design gave the space personality and presence. These weren't sounds audiences had heard much before. Electronic music was still experimental in 1966. By filling the Batcave with these futuristic tones, the sound designers made it feel genuinely advanced, like viewers were hearing the actual sound of tomorrow's technology today. Number 9. The Batmobile's home base. The Batcave wasn't just a laboratory or command center, it was primarily a garage for the most famous car on television. The Batmobile always occupied center stage, parked prominently, and ready to launch at a moment's notice. The car's designated parking area was positioned near the tunnel exit for quick departures. When the Bat phone rang and duty called, Batman and Robin could sprint to the Batmobile, fire up that powerful engine, and roar out through Bronson Canyon within seconds. The Batcave's design emphasized the vehicle's importance. Lighting positioned around the parking area made the Batmobile gleam dramatically. The black paint with orange trim looked spectacular against the cave's technical backdrop. Every episode reinforced this relationship. The Batcave existed to support Batman's mission, and the Batmobile was his primary weapon in that fight. Always waiting, always ready. Number 8. Reused props from old sci-fi films. Here's a secret Hollywood has always known: waste nothing, reuse everything. Many of those impressive-looking machines filling the Batcave's background came from older 20th Century Fox productions. Props from 1950s science fiction films found new life in Batman's headquarters. Alien communication devices became bat analyzers. Spaceship control panels transformed into crime-fighting computers. Futuristic weapons from forgotten B-movies became labeled Batcave equipment. This wasn't cheap corner cutting, it was smart resource management. Fox had warehouses full of props gathering dust. Why build everything from scratch when perfectly good futuristic-looking equipment already existed? The reused props also added authenticity. These weren't obviously fake cardboard cutouts. They were actual movie props, built to look convincing on camera. Their presence made the Batcave feel more substantial and real. The future, it turns out, was wonderfully recyclable. Yesterday's alien technology became today's crime-fighting tools. Number 7. A playground for jokes. Despite all its impressive technology, the Batcave was also where Batman's campy humor shined brightest. Batman and Robin often engaged in witty banter while working at their consoles, turning crime fighting into comedy. The dynamic duo would crack jokes about villains, make puns about their gadgets, and deliver groan-worthy one-liners. Sometimes the episode's moral lesson happened right there, with Batman giving Robin earnest advice about homework, nutrition, or safe driving, all while standing next to an atomic pile. These moments humanized the characters. They weren't grim, obsessed vigilantes. They were friendly heroes who enjoyed their work and each other's company. The Batcave became a safe space where they could relax between battles. The contrast was delightful, serious technology surrounding silly conversations. It perfectly captured the show's tone, reminding viewers that Batman was supposed to be fun, not frightening. Number 6. The Bat phone effect. That glowing red bat phone did more than just connect Batman to Commissioner Gordon. It became a storytelling device all by itself. When that phone lit up, audiences knew something big was about to happen. The lighting and sound cues surrounding the bat phone created instant dramatic tension. The urgent beeping, the pulsing red glow, Batman's immediate response. These elements signaled the transition from downtime to action. The episode's real adventure was about to begin. Directors used the bat phone as a reliable scene transition. Whatever Batman and Robin were doing, analyzing clues, maintaining equipment, or discussing life lessons, the bat phone's ring would interrupt, redirecting the story toward its next crisis. This simple prop became a narrative engine. Its presence meant Gotham needed help. Its silence meant brief respite. The Batcave's atmosphere changed entirely based on whether that red phone was glowing or dark. Number 5. Kids' favorite place on TV. For young viewers across America, the Batcave wasn't just a TV set, it was the ultimate dream laboratory. Every kid watching wished they had a secret headquarters beneath their house filled with incredible gadgets. Children could imagine every button doing something amazing. That unlabeled switch? Maybe it controlled a secret weapon. That blinking panel? Perhaps it tracked every criminal in the city. The ambiguity fueled endless playground discussions and backyard recreations. The Batcave made heroism feel accessible and possible. You didn't need superpowers. You needed technology, intelligence, and determination. Kids could envision themselves in Batman's place, using science and gadgets to fight injustice. Toy manufacturers recognized this appeal immediately. Batcave playsets flew off shelves. Kids built cardboard versions in their basements. The cave inspired a generation to love science, technology, and problem solving, all wrapped in colorful, adventurous packaging. Number 4. The real-life influence. The Batcave's impact extended far beyond entertainment. After the show aired, its design actually influenced real-world technology and design choices. Toy makers obviously capitalized on it, creating countless Batcave playsets and models that became bestsellers. But the influence went deeper. Some NASA engineers and mission control designers admitted being inspired by the show's aesthetic. That mix of blinking panels, bright colors, and organized workstations defined what futuristic looked like for an entire decade. The Batcave established visual language for how command centers should appear on screen. Countless TV shows and movies afterward borrowed its design principles. Brightly lit technical spaces, labeled equipment, central computer systems, and that distinctive blend of accessibility and sophistication. The 1966 Batcave didn't just reflect its era's optimism, it helped shape how that era imagined and eventually built the future. Number 3. The hidden tunnel mechanism. When the Batmobile needed to exit the cave, it didn't just drive straight out. There was actual engineering involved that most viewers never noticed. A hidden turntable mechanism that rotated the car toward the tunnel exit. The Batmobile would be parked facing the cave's interior. When Batman fired up the engine, a motorized platform beneath the car would slowly rotate, spinning the vehicle 180 degrees until it faced the exit tunnel. Then Batman would hit the accelerator and blast out toward Bronson Canyon. This wasn't CGI or camera tricks. The mechanism really worked. The production crew built a functional rotating platform strong enough to support the Batmobile's weight while turning smoothly on camera. It was clever, practical engineering that solved a real problem. The cave's layout meant the car couldn't simply drive forward, so they built infrastructure to redirect it. Pure functional design hidden in plain sight. Number 2. The red phone lives on. While much of the Batcave was eventually dismantled, one prop survived decades after the show ended. The original Bat phone. That iconic red telephone, complete with its distinctive clear dome and hotline label, became a treasured piece of television history. The Bat phone has been displayed in various museums over the years, carefully preserved as a cultural artifact. Collectors and Batman fans make pilgrimages to see it, connecting themselves to those classic episodes through this tangible piece of prop history. Its survival is remarkable considering how much television memorabilia was simply discarded after shows ended. Someone recognized the Bat phone's importance and ensured its preservation. Today, it stands as a symbol of direct communication between authority and action, between crisis and response.
Barbara Gordon on the
That
red
simple
phone.
red phone represents an era when heroism felt immediate, accessible, and just one phone call away. Number 1. The set was destroyed after the show. Here's the heartbreaking reality. When Batman ended in 1968, the Batcave didn't get preserved or archived. It was torn down, dismantled, and recycled like any other television set. Parts of it were salvaged for other Fox productions. That atomic pile might have appeared in a sci-fi show. Those computer panels possibly showed up in a different series. The Hollywood machine kept moving, and the Batcave became raw materials for future projects. No museum claimed it. No wealthy collector purchased it whole. The physical space that defined Batman's world simply ceased to exist. Yet its legacy lives on powerfully. Every dark, glowing, gadget-filled Batcave that came afterward, in movies, cartoons, video games, owes something to that bright, optimistic 1966 original. The set may be gone, but its influence remains eternal in every version of Batman's secret headquarters. And there you have it, 21 secrets of the 1966 Batcave that prove it wasn't just a television set. It was a reflection of an era that believed wholeheartedly in science, style, and just a little bit of campy heroism. From Shakespeare switches to spinning turntables, from recycled props to real caves in Los Angeles, this underground headquarters captured the imagination of millions. The 1966 Batcave showed us that heroism didn't require darkness and brooding. It could be bright, colorful, and welcoming. It could inspire rather than intimidate. Batman's lair wasn't a place of shadows. It was a laboratory of hope, where technology and determination combined to make the world safer. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Was it discovering that real cave entrance at Bronson Canyon? The labels on absolutely everything, including possibly the coffee machine? That glowing atomic pile that was just lights and plastic? Or maybe that the entire magnificent set was ultimately destroyed and recycled? Tell us in the comments below what your favorite Batcave memory is. Did you build cardboard versions in your basement? Did you beg your parents for the toy playset? Do you remember watching those episodes and wishing you had your own secret headquarters? And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're just getting started exploring classic television history. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this journey beneath Wayne Manor, and share this video with fellow Batman fans who need to know these secrets. Until next time, keep your Bat computer running, your atomic pile glowing, and remember, justice doesn't always wear a cape, but it sure helps. We'll see you in the next video.